After 5 worlds and 34 levels, we have finally made it to the keep. But the journey's not over. It's still a ways to the top, where K. Rool and DK await. And as we'll see, it's not the Kremlings, but the castle itself that poses the most danger to the Kongs. This is part 35 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country 2. There's a bit to cover here, but let's start with what I consider to be the most notable part of Castle Crush. We're finally in the castle, baby. Was it everything you thought it would be? I think it's one of the worst tile sets in the game. The background and parallax stuff is pretty great, but the floor, the walls, it's pretty samey, right? Still, new environments are always worth celebrating. And in the grand scheme of the game, I love what it adds to the big picture. The main gameplay focus is the rising floor. Seems simple enough, but put a ceiling above the Kongs and it starts to get pretty tense pretty quick. Add enemies to the mix and change them up often enough, and it makes for a challenging and downright chaotic level. You can roll through neeks or jump on them, dealer's choice. But Spiny and Kutlass require timing and strategy. You can't bonk Spiny on the head, and you can't roll into the clampons, so you're constantly adjusting your approach based on who's around. When Kruncha shows up, you're just avoiding him altogether. It's trickier than it sounds when you're also trying to avoid getting crushed by the approaching ceiling. Tell you what, it doesn't help that this level's a fucking gauntlet and a half either. If it's not the longest level so far, it's definitely one of them. It ramps up the difficulty after the halfway barrel, and can be pretty frustrating at times. Though to help even the odds a bit, both Rambi and Squawks have come to help. It's the first appearance of the pink kruncha, who only shows up in one more level after this. He's kinda like this game's version of the grey krusha from DKC, which was one of my favourite enemies of that game. The pink kruncha is not as cool. The Kremling head braziers, is that what they're called? The things in the background, they look cool too. There's a glitch in Castle Crush that, while it might look cool, can apparently do some serious damage to your game. I'm not about to tell you how to do it, and I can't be fucked talking about it. I'll link it in the description, but if you don't want to check it out for yourself, we may or may not be covering it in a future episode. If you've seen the first Overthinking Donkey Kong Country series, then you know what's up. Could this level be the keep's overly elaborate gate shutting mechanism? Maybe K. Rool saw the Kongs approaching and triggered the gate sequence, forcing them to race against it to make it inside the keep. If you look at Castle Crush's position on the overworld, it's right there on the gate, so I mean, maybe, right? This level always reminded me of the trash compactor scene from Star Wars. That's about as good a note to end on as we're gonna get. Episode 35 done. We've now officially entered K. Rool's keep, and are minutes away from the final confrontation. Or so it seems. One thing at a time though. We're still a few levels away from the Stronghold Showdown, so yeah, all in good time. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.